Welcome back to the Vinyl Word Podcast. As always, I'm Steve Beach.
And I'm Brian Mayer. Hello.
We want to just thank you guys so much for listening, and we are doing our very first YouTube episode.
It might be our last. I mean, people have to look at these mugs and listen to us try to be funny.
Yeah, I used to enjoy the Vinyl Word Podcast, but
right, this might be
not anymore.
It may be a genuine bridge too far.
We'll start seeing our downloads and listens just slowly going down as it goes.
Not so few people comment, but they may start now just out of anger.
Please stop the videos.
You look exactly like I thought you would.
Right, exactly. But really want to thank you guys for listening. We do have a lot of people listening now. I'm just talking about actual listeners, not just number of downloads, whatever.
I really wish there was a button that just said pity. Like,
right.
I'm going to download this, but just
because I feel bad for these guys.
Just so that they're not sad.
Hey, that's okay. I will take listeners any way I can, because that's the kind of guy I am. But yeah, I was looking at some of our stuff the other day, and Brian, we are known worldwide. Did you know that?
I did not. We
did. I'm looking at our stats right now. We're in Europe. 19% of our listeners are in Europe. We have 1% in Asia, and we have a few in South America too.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Right. I like Australia's Oceania. Did they change their name?
I think so. Yeah. New year, new name.
Hey, Australia, you guys do you. It's great.
Right. Exactly. So, but speaking of podcasts, though, I do want to mention one that Brian and I have started listening to a lot and are really funny, called Duck Logic.
Absolutely. Duck Logic is they're based out of Chicago. They had an AM radio show back in the 80s, and quite funny. And the show is older skits mixed with new. There's a lot of good stuff on there. There's parody commercials. There are full skits. Then there are just topical conversations that they're having. And like one of the things I really like is that the podcasts are always under half an hour.
Yeah,
it's
kind of like ours. They're just short, to the point, funny, entertaining,
tight packed, well done,
yeah.
Varied material. And these guys have been doing it for a long time. Unlike us, they know what they're doing, and you can tell.
Oh yeah, you can tell. Yeah, these guys are professionals. They've been doing this for a long time. Yeah, they're very funny. So
yeah, they're impressively funny. I would highly encourage you guys to give them a listen.
Yeah, I would too. They're very great. But we are starting a new record today. Of course, just like everything else, kind of odd. We're kind of going to the realm of fairy tales.
Yes, we are.
Not fairy tales that you've heard of, though, ironically.
No, we're going straight up classic Brothers Grimm here.
Mm-hmm.
Snow White and Rose Red is what we are doing today. And that is that cover right there.
Just looking at it.
Yeah.
You
would think this is Rose Red, but you're wrong. That's Snow White. So,
and if you're just listening and not watching the video, we will have the picture of that up on our Facebook page and other things. You can see a picture of that as well.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it's very odd.
It is. It came from a series of records that were made for children. The main selling point was that they had, it was professionally done. They had professional actors and actresses.
Yep.
They also had people write original songs for these records, and then they performed to them. And you're going to hear some of those. They're not awful, but they're also not great. But one of the really interesting things here is the specific record that we are going to listen to is from 1962. One of the characters in here, Rose Red, is played by Barbara Lee. If you do not know who Barbara Lee is, she became a model in the 1970s and then became an actress in the 70s and 80s. Most probably famous / infamous, Steve, for having a 2-year-long affair with Elvis Presley.
What?
Yes.
That's bizarre.
So for all intents and purposes, this is before Barbara Lee became Barbara Lee. Yeah.
Right. Which some people are going, never heard a name before.
I know, but
now you have.
Yes. Interesting thing here, but like it's unique.
Right.
People live lives and then they become famous for something, and sometimes that famous thing follows you through the rest of your life.
Yes. And it's not the thing you wanted to be famous for.
No,
Many times.
But there is a lovely level of irony here, because Barbara Lee in the 1970s was she was known as more of like a racy model.
Okay.
Which I think explains some of the Elvis Presley thing. But
sure. Yeah, sounds like worth a zoo.
Yeah, it does. We're at
Once
the zoo
upon
now.
a time,
Yes.
there were two little girls called Rose Red and Snow White.
And Betty Blue.
They lived with their mother in a cottage on the edge of a great forest.
They must have
Every
played at
morning,
HOAs.
they would
Yes,
get
I'm
up
sure,
early and
as I
tidy
do.
the cottage. When
Every
all was
morning
spick
they
and
got up?
span,
I know.
Rose
Can you say
Red would go
OCD?
into the garden and gather flowers.
All the Sixers say they like James Harden, even though he wants a trade today. His offense comes in first, but his defense is the worst. He only cares about himself always. Now, I'm going to wait until the rest of it, but
Yes, that's good. I like that.
he drives me nuts. I got a second verse, Steve. Can I sing that too?
Oh, please. Please do.
All right.
All right.
Here it comes. All the Sixers claim they like James Harden. Well, everyone except Joel Embiid. And Maury wants more picks from possibly the Knicks. And only then will he set Harden free. And only then will he set Harden free. There you go. That's my NBA version of
Nice.
the Garden.
Very good.
Thank you.
And that's the way it is in the NBA.
And a beard comes up later, so I thought it was fitting that
Right.
his nickname is the
Yep.
Beard.
Meanwhile,
Perfect.
Snow White would polish the old copper kettle until it shone like gold.
Rub-a-dub-dub, there's dreaming in my tub. Maybe she whispered that, I don't know.
I'm not saying any of the things that are in my head right now.
I'll sing it for you.
That's fine.
Rose Red had a pet lamb.
That's an odd animal.
And there was a
Snow
goat boy.
White,
Remember the
a little white
1880s?
And the ducks that
In
have
the
Morse
evening,
code.
when the work was done,
And the
they would
lemur
all
said,
sit on the hearth by the fire, and their mother would put on her spectacles and read
For
out of a great
Spanx?
big book.
Oh, or spectacles, sorry.
One winter evening,
You don't have to
when
be
they were all
narrow-minded.
sitting
It could be
together and the
both.
fire was burning brightly, there came a knock at the door.
It's the fire department. Your cottage is on fire.
Night like this. Shall I answer it?
Yes, please, Rose Red. And hurry up. It might be some traveler who needs shelter. Snow White, put the kettle on.
Yes,
not
Mother.
on your head,
Dear
stupid girl.
me, this bolt is stiff.
Stiff.
All right, I won't be a moment.
Hang on, impatient.
There. Goodness gracious. A bear.
How do you do?
A
I'm
bear.
sorry to disturb you, but it's very cold outside and my nose is frozen. I wonder if I
Steve?
could sit by the fire and warm
This
it
is
up
the
a
guy
bit.
from the
Oh,
Monster
you
Mash.
poor bear. Come in.
It is, isn't
Bring him
it?
over here by the fire.
It was a holy mother.
It's all right, Lammy. He won't hurt you.
Don't sit too close to the
Yeah,
fire.
that's
You
only
might
a
burn
bear.
yourself.
Right?
Oh,
He might only
very
eat
kind.
you alive.
A nose isn't much use when it's frozen, you know. A couple of skunks went
is
by
the
a moment
Monster
ago
Mash
and
guy.
I
I'm
didn't even
positive.
notice. I
Walk by a
wondered if
skunk.
you could
That
knock
explains the
snow
stinky
off
smell
my
in the
back.
cabin right now.
Oh, of course. Rose Red, fetch the brooms.
Here you are, Mother.
Brooms?
And
Why do they
here's
have more
one
than
for you,
one?
Snow White.
Now, 1, 2, 3,
What are they doing?
all together.
Oh,
Oh, that's what they're doing. Oh, Steve, I thought
They're-
you said this was
How's
PG.
This.
You're too kind. Oh, that's much better.
Oh.
I feel almost
They were beating
human
the bear.
again, if you'll pardon
Animal
the
abuse.
expression.
It must be very
I don't think
cold
he
out
sounds
there
very
in all that
abused.
No,
snow.
he's
Oh,
not.
it's absolutely perishing, my dear. Nobody realizes what we have to go through. It's not a lot of fun to be a bear. I mean, just look at the sort of furs you have to wear.
If you don't wear it,
It's
it's hard
all
to do.
tangled up and coarse.
People
Well,
wrote
I'd
this.
rather be a horse. Well, dash it all. I mean, it's hardly
That
fair.
will be on side 2.
I can lie awake and think, what a joy to be a mink, or a squirrel,
And be wrapped
or a
around the
fox,
necks
or
of rich
Persian
young
lamb.
women.
Why, I think I'd sell my soul to be a mink-dyed marmot stool.
But
Or
that's
a
a
mole.
different Grimsdale.
But a
Right.
bear is what I
Hello,
am,
Mephistopheles. How
and
are
it's
you today?
most unglam. But it's what I am.
Nice little bit.
Yeah, that oboe / bassoon solo at the
I'm
end
rather
is solid.
sleepy now. Will you excuse me?
I was up all night.
I hope you don't
The
mind,
bear
but I
slept
sleep in the
soundly all
nude.
night, and next morning was
I
up
am a
bright
bear.
and early.
And he got up and played the harp for everybody.
Did you sleep well, Mr. Bear?
That bear is very
Good
talented.
night, my dear. Well, I suppose I'd better go and do a spot of hunting. Could I come back again tonight?
Why,
A bit
of
of
course you
hunting.
can.
There's a lamb in the cottage.
I must bring you
Right
some
there for your
honey.
taking.
Goodbye.
Every night that winter,
Right.
the bear would sleep by the fire, and every morning he would amble off to go hunting.
That's their face.
And then one day,
Not
it was
Sergeant.
spring.
Amble. Do dee do dee do.
Oh, what an aroma. The fragrance of the blossom, the freshness of the morning
That's
dew.
skunksy smelling now.
What a
Right.
day for a nose.
You
That's
definitely
the same
don't
time,
sound
Bear.
overbearing or
I'm afraid I
British,
will.
do
I
I?
have quite a lot of treasure in the forest, you know. It's
That's
safe
what I
enough
call
in
my
winter when the
turds.
snow's on the ground, but when it's warmer and the ground gets
They've
soft,
been hardened
those
in
horrible
the wintertime.
wasps dig it up.
Ah, hardened.
Well, I must be
Yep.
off. See you next winter. Oh,
What have you done? Have you hurt yourself?
I've scratched myself on the latch of the door.
Are you all right?
Oh, yes, thank you.
I'm
I-
bleeding to
I've just
death, but
pulled
no,
out a
I'm
bit of
perfectly
fur.
fine.
It'll soon grow again. It's wretched stuff, you know. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Bert.
Goodbye, Lady. Goodbye, Dove.
Please help me.
Rose Red, did you see what I saw when he pulled away that bit of fur?
That's what she said.
Instead of skin, there was gold.
Did you
In
know
the best
bears
of
could be
spirits,
circumcised?
Mr. Bear wandered in the forest.
Let's grab him. Get rid of all this fur and sell his skin for gold.
What a truly wonderful thing is spring, spring, spring.
I gotta be
There's
honest,
a
I don't like spring. I wish we didn't have spring.
And
No
I
spring.
I
No,
know
not springy.
because It's spring, 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 spring.
Don't wish for that.
Not far away, Rose Red and Snow White were gathering sticks.
Yep, gotta leave that alone.
They were putting sticks on their heads,
Yep,
calling each other stick heads.
yep.
From my fingers to my toes, every particle of me knows it's spring, spring, spring.
Not gonna touch that.
Oh, they weren't saying that.
Suddenly they heard a sound.
Oh, help! Somebody quick, help!
That sounded like someone in trouble.
Where did it come from?
Over there, I think.
As they drew nearer, the sound grew louder.
Oh,
Wait,
help!
that
Oh,
does tend to be the way
It's
sound
common
works.
science.
There he
Thanks,
is.
Captain
He's
Obvious.
small. Why, he only comes up to my waist.
And what a long white beard he has.
Oh, thank you.
His beard is caught in
I'm
that
glad you said
fallen
beard.
tree.
Yeah.
little girl, come here. Oh,
Can we help you, Miss Dwarf?
Of course you can, you foolish girl. Do you think I like being caught by the
She's
beard?
trying to help
I
you,
was
and you're
splitting
calling her
this tree
foolish.
for firewood when one of the wedges flew out.
Ungrateful
The
little
tree
brat.
sprang back, and here I am, trapped
One of the
by
things
my
about the
whiskers.
Brothers Grimm was
I
that
know what
dwarfs
to
are
do.
jokes.
I'll hold you round the waist, Mr.
Just a
Dwarf.
rule.
And
Oh, wait.
Rose Red, you hold me round the waist. And then
And
we'll
then the
all
bear
pull
will hold
together.
both
Good
of us
idea.
at the same time.
Yeah, this
That's
plane
right.
can't fail at all.
And
Hold
the
on
dwarf
tight.
watches.
Now,
Everyone wins.
1, 2, 3,
Oh, stop! Oh,
You pulled my legs
what
out
a
of
silly
socket.
idea.
I'm sorry,
You
Mr.
silly
Dwarf.
bear.
Have we hurt you?
Of course you have.
I know what to do.
I can no longer
I
walk.
use my scissors.
I didn't know you would
You're
choose.
free.
You stupid girl. You've cut 6 inches off my beard. Stuff
It was
children
more
have
like
no brain
two.
at all.
Shut
Oh,
up!
I'm
It was
sorry,
6.
Mr. Dwarf.
It was
I'm very
absolutely
sorry.
6.
Don't run away.
I'm long
Picked up
dead.
his sack and gone.
Well, there's gratitude
It
for
was
you.
cold outside.
What's this on the ground?
It's
I
a
just went
precious
swimming.
stone. It must have fallen from the sack.
Hello, Bear.
Hello, Bear.
Have you seen a dwarf anywhere?
So,
Yes,
so
we've
some
just
rocks
got
fell
one
from a
loose.
sack.
Oh, bother.
Yeah,
that
I've
belonged
been
to the
trying to
dwarf.
catch him for ages. Next time you see him, do you think you could hang on to him for me?
We'll
I
try.
want to invite him
Oh,
to
thank
the
you so
match.
much. You're too kind.
The
Next
monster
day,
maw.
Rose Red and Snow White went to the river to fish.
Down beside the river.
They had
I like
hook
to wend
wages.
my way.
They had their
Through
lines.
the rushes, by the willow.
Turns out they were
I
master
can
fly
watch the fish
fishermen.
come out to play. Down beside the river, I take my rod and line.
By rod, she means her
In the
boyfriend.
rushes,
Right.
By
Roderick.
the willow, all the world is absolutely mine. Every fish takes a look at my old bent hook that I dangle there in day.
What?
But they've
Okay.
seen it before,
Sure.
so they say once more, Rose
So are the
Red
fish paying
must be
attention to her in
here
this?
again. Down beside the river, by the rushes tall, I adore being there, so I don't really care.
Professionally written songs, folks. I want to remind you, professional songs.
So what if she says she doesn't care if she catches a fish?
Why, it's
Right.
that dwarf
Then why go
His
fishing?
fishing line's tangled up with his beard.
Well, she's probably just doing what all of us do and drink
And
beer.
look, there's a big fish on the hook. He'll be pulled into the water in a minute.
Help!
It's a big fish
It's
with a
all
long
right.
beard.
We've got you.
Wait,
Give me a
shorter than
wink,
last
Tommy.
time, though.
Right.
There's only one way to do it.
This
The
dwarf
scissors.
is the worst at dwarfing.
My beard! You stupid girl! You've cut off another 6 inches of my beard!
Now I look like
How
a
could a child be
hipster.
so stupid?
Why would
Nice.
you do that to
Give me my
me?
sack, girl.
No, I only have
Here
a
it is.
goatee.
I have
Look,
friends.
it's full of jewels.
Don't be so inquisitive. Give it to me.
No,
His sack is
you
full of
shan't
jewels,
have it,
Brian.
not until
Yeah,
Mr.
I know.
Bear gets here.
Give
Well,
it to
and
me,
the
little
girls
girl,
all want to look
or
at this
it'll be
sack.
worse
I
for
get
you.
it.
Here, Snow White, catch!
I've got it.
Give it to me.
Hurry up, Mr. Bear. Catch, Rose Red.
Give it to me this instant.
Mr. Bear, quick!
Okay.
I'm
With-
coming!
Don't let him get the jewels, Rose Red.
Nope.
No.
Got you at last.
Ah.
Oh,
Oh,
So
Mr.
which one was coming?
Bear, you
Oh,
shouldn't have done that. I think you've killed him.
It was the only way I could break the spell. You see,
Murder.
I'm not really a bear. That dwarf turned me into one many years ago.
Newt.
I'm really
yes,
a
I
prince.
got better.
Oh dear. I feel
Not all of me
most
has turned
peculiar.
back into a human.
Look at his paws. They're turning into hands.
But the only way to become a prince is to murder somebody.
Well,
Turning
no,
back
not
into a
somebody.
prince again.
Dwarf. You have to murder a dwarf.
Isn't he?
It helps if you do it on a Tuesday.
Hey,
Otherwise, there's a delay in the
White.
process.
just like Horton says,
How can I ever
a
thank
person is a person,
My
no
treasure
matter
is
how
safe.
small.
Oh,
And I am a
not
prince
according to
once
the rules of bear
you?
conversion
Come
to
with me
prince.
to my castle.
And fairy tales.
My father, the king, will
Dwarves
give you
are not
the
really
reward you so richly deserve.
So Rose Red and
If
Snow
you
White
know
went
what
with
I
the prince
mean.
to the castle. And when
Money.
they grew up,
Money. I'm
Rose
talking
Red
about
married
money.
the handsome prince, and Snow White married
Definitely
his
not.
brother. And they all lived happily ever after.
Except for the dwarf.
Yep.
He could never grow facial hair again.
Also, he was dead. They cut off the dwarf's head and put it on the wall. It talked to everyone as it went by.
Is anything really beautiful in the garden?
You know, gardens are awful. Like,
I know.
Steve, you've had a garden. I've had a garden. You grew up on a farm.
Yeah, poison ivy.
How much work is it
I know.
to do this?
I got something called chiggers one time that I itched like crazy.
Oh my gosh, yeah, chiggers are the worst. I had poison ivy so bad I had to be on steroids. You know, like you could literally see it
Yeah.
coursing through my arms.
I know. Yeah, so everything's not serene in the garden. She's a
Also-
liar.
I spent an entire season trying to grow stuff, and I ended up with like 3 carrots and 2 potatoes. It's the most expensive vegetable soup I've ever had in my life.
I'm sure it is.
Most frustrating too.
Yes, I bet.
All right, Steve, we made it.
Yeah. So I guess there are some rules we might need to cover about fairy tales, which seem to always be true.
Yeah, like
First, you have to live in a cottage.
Well,
Yeah, you're not allowed to live in the city
or a castle, I think.
or a castle. Yeah,
But
if
yeah,
you're poor, it's a cottage. If
Right.
you're rich, it's a castle. There's no middle class.
there's no apartments,
right.
there's no rentals,
No,
there's no condos.
no.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah, you're either in a hovel, also known as a cottage, or you're in a castle.
Yeah, and you're rich.
Right.
Right. And there always has to be a dwarf or some small person at some point.
Well, short people have magical powers.
Yes, that's true in fairy
I
tales.
mean, like,
too.
this is just fact.
Yeah.
So,
It is. It is. But yeah, just some weird rules. Like there always has to be somebody who casts a spell
uh-huh.
on somebody.
It's always helpful also if you have an animal that can talk.
Yes. Yep, that's true too. And I guess the only way to get rid of spells is by murdering the person.
It's always been murder.
Not some incantation. Right. Right.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's true, Steve. You're never going to find a fairy tale where two parties meet and calmly reason through their differences
No.
and come to a compromise.
Never. Yeah. It's always abiding by those rules.
Yep. So talking bears, princes, mischievous dwarves, murder. Oh, marriage. Marriage is another thing that a lot of
that's
times
true.
pops up.
Yeah. And it's usually a poor woman marries a prince.
Yeah, usually. And like I always think of the line from Wayne's World, marriage is penalty for shoplifting in some countries. It's like
Can't argue with that logic.
not everybody should be married. That's all I'm saying. I mean,
Yeah, this is
like
true. This is true.
like it's a good goal for a lot of people. Shouldn't be a goal for everybody.
Right.
So like when it's in a fairy tale, be aware.
Yeah, exactly.
So
we were talking really about our podcast and views and stuff. It'd be kind of nice if we had sponsors, someone to give us money. Could be nice.
well, Steve, you're in luck.
Really
We actually we have corporate sponsorship this time.
cool.
Today's episode of The Final Word is brought to you by Luddite Cybersecurity. They guarantee that you can't have your data stolen because they eliminate all of it, and people can't steal what you don't have. They have a low-tech kit, pens, papers, envelopes, stamps, cans with string. They can't steal stuff that's out there
Right.
because it ain't there.
Thank you, Letta.
Making high tech low. Luddite Cybersecurity.
Thanks, Luddite. Well, yeah, as we, I think, briefly mentioned, maybe we didn't. I don't know, but we're going to mention it now. So there is a side 2 to this record called The Goose Girl, which is equally as strange
No, not
And-
equally skilled.
and made up.
No, like the side 2 is bananas.
Okay.
Like I had like a
So we go from having nuts to bananas.
Mhm.
So it's more on the fruity side.
okay, like Snow White is a character that we're aware of.
Right.
Like Rose Red, hadn't really heard of, but I'm like, yeah, it's attached to Snow White. It's a
Right.
package deal.
Right.
It's fine. The Goose Girl is a Brothers Grimm that is more obscure and is absolutely
So give it away.
bananas. No, I can't. I could tell you all kinds of crazy things, and I couldn't. Like, you would not be prepared. All I'm
Yeah.
saying is that
Make sure you listen.
this episode is like, if you think our humor can go dark sometimes, wow.
Just wait.
Yeah, like it goes full eclipse all on its own, and
Yeah.
we
Oh,
are
man.
just left here pointing, going, "Holy, oh my goodness!
Yeah.
I can't believe that this
Yeah.
is a real story."
Right. Exactly.
So I'm excited to record that.
Yeah, I am too.
It's going to be a lot.
But hey, we would love to hear from you guys as always. We have an email, vinylword22@gmail.com. We also have our Facebook page, Vinyl Word Podcast, so you can reach us on there too.
Yep.
So yeah, we would love to hear from you guys.
Yeah, I want to encourage you guys to subscribe, tell other people about it. And if you have access to the computers, I want you to log on to their podcast subscription service and subscribe them to us, and just have it pop up and
Learn how to
be
hack.
confused. Not hack, just be sneaky. Like,
Right.
like just bump up our numbers,
Right.
boost them. Let's do this.
So again, thank you for tuning in, and you will hear from us soon.
And I'm sorry.
Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da.